And we're live.
Oh, I forgot
Jeff,
Yes,
you are not in the office today.
not in the
check,
office today. I
check that
am.
view out.
Yeah, no, this is good stuff up here. Yeah. Ooh, ah. Yes, welcome to the interior of British Columbia, Canada. That's it.
That's
It's
pretty awesome, dude.
it's warm, it's dry, away from the wet coast. So yeah.
How are you even
Yeah.
working today? I wouldn't be able to take my eyes off it. I'd be like, I'm
No, well,
looking.
that's kind of why I'm out here, so I can do both at the same time.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Well, how's your week going so far?
So far, so good. Yeah, we got up in here Monday sort of evening, so it's kind of nice to be out here and a little bit more room to breathe, and um, so it's good. I like it. It's been going well this week. I love it, man. Having some good conversations with some people. It's been a pretty motivating start to the week. Pretty pumped. So
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. If you're watching Peter Lang, thanks for the lack of sleep last night. The guy had too many ideas for us. You're a champion. Yeah, we've had some good calls this week. It's been awesome.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Cool. But with that said, it's Wednesday. What does that mean?
Yes, and different from last week. Julie, thank you for taking over last week. That was we had a holiday up here last week, so Julie took over on the What Buyers Want. So now people have had an opportunity to meet her and find out a little bit about what she does with us. So that was good. But yes, today back on it for What Buyers Want Wednesday. So we'll take a peek at some of the emails that have come in from buyers. So if you are a business owner, seller, and you have something that you're considering an exit and you see an investor that has criteria that might fit, and otherwise we just sort of make fun of what investors are looking for, so or what they tell us.
Yeah,
bit of fun. Why not?
exactly. Awesome.
Cool. Shall we get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, is that big enough? Can you see that? Let's make it a bit.
Yeah, maybe a little bit bigger.
There we go.
Perfect. Awesome.
All right, so the first investor is looking for something in the 1 to 5 million in annual profit, 15 to 20% margin in the toy category, and their investment criteria is 2.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming that that's their SDE target, given their SDE EBITDA requirement or
Yes.
criteria. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's ideally what they're looking for, is around 2.5 million in net profit, not their investment, because that would change the first category. So,
yes. But
right.
if you could buy 5 million of EBITDA for 2.5 million, I'd buy that all day.
I'd take it.
Yes.
Seems like a pretty good deal.
Sold.
Yeah, done. It's sold before then. Yeah.
Absolutely. But toys, man, toys is a great category. We had a deal in the toy space last year, and man, I'd love some more toy deals. They were the toy market has very different multiples to an FBA business or an general e-commerce business. It was a lot of fun, and we went to the Dallas Toy Fair as part of this promotion, and man, those guys just get paid to have a great time, and they love their jobs, which is kind of cool. It was very invigorating.
I almost feel like you remember that movie Big with Tom Hanks? Like, I almost feel like it's like that. It's like you get paid to like test out toys.
Oh, absolutely, man. Everyone there had huge smiles on their faces, and they were playing with toys. It was just, it was great.
Right.
It was so much fun.
Yeah. But why is the toy category so special to investors? I mean, to me, I'm thinking that like there's just kind of no limit to what you can do with it. Like retail, have it translated internationally or whatever. I mean, like a toy is a like, if it's a game, I guess I should say, but toys and games category, like, is it just because you can market it to kind of everyone, or there's so many retail opportunities and other distribution channels to explore? But why specifically is the toy and game category so attractive to investors?
It's because the other toy companies are very acquisitive. which means they like to grow via acquisition. And what we discovered was they often the larger companies try and acquire the talent behind the business. Because they've literally said to us, we've had these conversations one-on-one, that picking the new category is really hard. But if you find a brand that's cracked into a new category and there's momentum, groundswell behind them, they can take that into their distribution. And they do this time and time and time again. And some of the largest companies in the toy space, and if you're in the toy space, you may already know this, they do a lot of royalty deals where they'll take over marketing and sales of your products and production in most cases as well. So they'll take over the business, give you a royalty, because they just want to put that into their pipeline. Because on the buy side, customer buyer behavior always changes, and keeping ahead of that actually is a pretty tough thing. So these large multi-billion-dollar companies, in order to maintain their position, maintain their shelf space in the stores, the big box retailers, they have to have stuff that's hot and selling.
Right.
So they acquire it.
And did they feel like they're acquiring the creative at the same time? And by the way, acquisitive, did you just make that up?
No, that's a real thing.
Right. I'm gonna have to write that down. Acquisitive. Add that to my lexicon up here.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. No, it's a smarter way to do it. And but to your point on the teams, so often they'll try and acquire the team as well. So they'll give them an advance, or they'll pay a decent payment down payment, but then have more upside. And mostly the seller wants that upside too, because if you can get into like international tier 1 distribution like that, it's a no-brainer. But what they're really trying to do is get the minds behind that space so that they can replicate it as much as possible and hire these little teams that they all sit down. The top 10 toy companies on earth all have teams. Every week they play the new exciting games that come in, right? They just all play them. Like they want to know what's going on and get ideas and things like this, but it's faster for them to acquire than build. So that's what they do.
Got it. Acquihire. I'm gonna write that one down too. Acquisitive and acquihire. I just expanded already. This is awesome. The learning never stops. Is great.
Terrific.
All right. Awesome. Oh, this next one is one of my favorites. 1 to 5 million in SDE, 30 plus margin. Wow. But in any category, and their investment criteria is not applicable.
Yes. So we normally make fun of these ones, but why, Jeff? Why is this for 1 to 5 million of EBITDA? Why is this NE and NA?
Because he's asking for 30% plus margin. That's going to narrow it down significantly. So if there's anything out there that fits that criteria, they'll take a look at it.
But in my opinion, that's a cash machine.
Oh, absolutely. If you can find somebody that actually wants to sell it.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. They just want to buy a cash machine, and they have more cash to plug into it. It's also saying we have more capital to put into this. We're looking for profitable ways to deploy capital. So this, even though it says any industry and NA in their investment criteria, that's what they're actually telling us with this, is they have a lot of capital to deploy and they want to deploy it profitably. So
right. And they want to find a needle in a haystack. And when they do, the category is less significant.
Yes.
If it's pulling in that kind of money, the category is not really all that significant, but they'll take it on a case-by-case basis. I'm sure if we could find them something like that, then the other conversations will need to be had. But
we've had financial buyers. So this is a financial buyer profile. They're looking for opportunities. They're not necessarily strategic in the category, but we've had buyers that are still active and investors that have 5 and 10 million EBITDA targets that want 30%. So this is replicated as you go up the value chain, and they're just waiting for where's the opportunities where we can profitably deploy $100 million, $1 billion. Like the more, the better. So interesting.
Interesting. All right. Next one, we've got somebody looking for $500,000 to $1 million in annual profit, 15 to 20% in their net margins, looking at organic supplements, skincare, or content, any wellness or health related site, and they will pay cash.
Mm-hmm. So I'm actually booking a call with these guys because I know them personally.
Okay.
But I love the investment criteria. We will pay cash. Why do you think they've added that in? What do you think, mate?
Why do I think they've added that in? I think, I mean, they're basically just telling us that they've got funds available. They're not looking to leverage any kind of debt facility or need to go and acquire investors or capital. They have it already. Yes. And so they're coming to the table. They're ready to close. They have the funds to close, and they mean business, basically.
Yeah, and as I said, I do know these guys. So they do actually have strategic leverage in the health and wellness space. So they are very motivated to pick up something to plug into their ecosystem. So these are a good example of a strategic buyer, which is cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, cash buyers welcome.
Absolutely. Always.
Always.
And twice on Sunday.
Door is open. Yeah, you got it. Okay, so next one, again, $500,000 to $1 million in profit, 15 to 20%. We're most looking for health, wealth, beauty, and in the opposing space. This looks like the exact same person.
It is. It is. We've got 3 from the same.
Oh, is the next one them too? No.
It is. Yeah.
But then they lowered their.
Yeah, so they actually reached out. This is kind of funny. They said that our buyer criteria form was a bit restrictive, so they sent a contact through as well, which is why I saw them come through, because I don't see all of these straight away. But yeah, we can move forward because that's all the same. Or we could talk about the criteria on that one as well.
Oh, on their mostly looking for health, wellness, beauty, and also anything in the publishing space.
Yeah. But on the end there, so while they've mentioned they'll pay cash, and this is like a stream of consciousness. So we're really seeing them behind their minds. They do have access to SBA debt as well. So the first stab at it was, if we're using SBA, here's what it looks like, but also we have cash. So
right. So you're saying that number 6 here is them too?
No, I believe so. Yeah.
But they've lowered it to 300,000 to 500,000. Beauty, apparel, or easy supply chain, less than $1 million. I don't know. It almost seems almost
apparel. No, that's not them. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think this is different because then they want like an easy supply chain so they can run it from their hammock. They have so looking at less than $1 million now. This is their investment criteria. So they're looking to invest less than $1 million on something that's making 300 to 500,000 in SDE.
Sounds like a pretty good deal for the buyer.
Might find it in apparel, but
yeah, true.
Probably not in the beauty space. But need to get approved for lending. Good buzzword for Corin. I will have 10 to 20% down payment depending on size. Untapped Amazon opportunity. Not enough money to spend on ads.
Wait a minute. That doesn't quite track. I'd like to. I might mention a Jolie to reach out to these guys. That doesn't make sense to me. Because if they're saying they have 10 to 20% down and they want to spend less than $1 million, that'd tell me they have maximum $200,000 to put into the deal. But unless they're saying that so maybe what they're saying is the current owner of the business is taking cash out for, say, a salary, whereas they won't need to take a cash out for salary and then be willing to reinvest in Amazon through extra advertising, etc. So that kind of makes sense. However, they will have debt service, which won't be small if it's $1 million deal. So that's kind of interesting, that last sentence there.
Yeah, that one's yeah. If they have 10 to 20% down payment, depending on size, well, it has to depend on size at this. If they have less
Yeah.
than 1 million, yeah, I don't know. That's a really strange one, especially
Hmm.
when they're saying untapped Amazon opportunities. So they want something with where the sky's the limit, where the owner is just constrained by not being able to spend enough money on ads.
Hmm. But then they're
Eek.
not coming in with a ton of cash, so
And they don't
that's
have any money
interesting.
themselves. Yeah,
that's that's kind of confusing.
oh
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll get Julie to dig into that one a little bit more.
yeah,
That's
indeed.
definitely
Yeah,
worth a conversation.
yeah. Sometimes buyers don't know what they want.
Exactly.
Okay, so next one here: 3 to 500,000 in SDE, 30% net margin in consumer products, food and beverage, household goods, or niche products. And their investment criteria is based on the niche, the value-added business, simple operations, outsourced, light footprint on manufacturing, clear opportunity for growth, based in US, and relocatable or remote.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you want? Like, so light footprint, it has to be based in the US,
Hmm.
but it has to be able to be something that they could move somewhere, or maybe relocatable within the US,
Hmm.
or
Yeah, so they're probably wanting to leverage SBA debt, and that's where the US based comes
yeah,
in.
yeah,
Although
yeah,
not always. We do have buyers often say, look, we just prefer dealing with US based businesses and US based income because we're in the US. And there's no
right,
point looking at a German based deal, for example. So that may or may not be for funding purposes. The relocatable or remote, it just means they don't want to move to the middle of nowhere if that's where the seller's from, right? They
right, right,
want some
right.
options. So they're probably looking to replace their job income here and get location independence and maybe travel to another state that's less COVID than the other
Yeah,
or
maybe
something.
they just want to
Um,
move to Puerto Rico and still be able to
right.
operate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. And then the outsourced or light manufacturing, so they don't want to be putting stuff together, basically. And most
yeah,
of our clients have this already dialed in that's completely hands off, which is why
hmm,
FBA businesses are so interesting to a lot of investors, is it's a very hands-off process, right?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, value added business, that could mean they have some value to bring to this business or there's some opportunity there. But the rest of it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but even like the
Yeah.
light footprint, I mean, I know it's easy, but they probably don't want to be dealing with 10 different suppliers for the same product. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah,
Where,
that's true too.
where it's like developed here and sent over here and packaged there and sent back here. It's just like they just kind of want to deal with limited supplier relations, maybe.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
All right. And last one for today, under 300,000 in SDE, 15 to 20% in profit margin, and in specifically in kitchen accessories. And they're looking for niche products, good opportunity for or improvement and development.
Hmm.
Okay. Well,
That one's pretty straightforward.
it is
Maybe
pretty
they've got
straightforward.
some
Yeah.
leverage. Maybe they got some leverage in the kitchen space. I'm thinking because of that size, maybe they've got like a niche site or something, or have one product in kitchen accessories and just want to build out their portfolio instead of building from scratch.
Yeah. It might
Yeah.
even be like like a content site about cookware or something. This is probably their
Yeah.
very first thing, and it's like, okay, well, let's start small. Let's get a product that we can like change a little bit,
Yeah.
make them longer, fatter, whatever, or like customize it somehow to make it their own, but start on that smaller level. But I would imagine that this is probably their first product.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say so too. They could be an affiliate that got caught up in the affiliate reduction income,
Yeah, yeah,
affiliate payout reduction recently. But maybe
yeah.
they've made some good money over the time, and they're like, hey, let's actually sell some products.
And if they've been smart with it, then bravo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely, awesome. Well, that was pretty cool. Anything else to add on buyers while we're on the call? I might actually have something to add, but you go first.
Oh, good. No, no, no. I'm still stuck on my Aquahire and Acquisitive. I just I'm just I'm over the moon that I've learned some new words today. That's great. So no, go ahead. Add away. I don't have anything to add to that.
Awesome.
How could you possibly top that?
Right. Well, well, we might actually just leave it there then.
No. Come on.
No. Yeah, I don't know. I keep talking about this. The more we talk about it, I'm excited about it. I think there's a real opportunity, and we did a whole webinar on this, so I won't talk at length about it. But just as a bit of a teaser, I think if you have a business with solid operations, you have a niche, you have a target market, there's a real opportunity to become a buyer, grow via acquisition. Like these large companies are doing it. It's this constant theme that we see. The larger companies are doing this all the time. In fact, Peter mentioned this book last night. It's called Strategy Beyond the Hockey Stick. It actually, I know you were a fan of House of Lies. We recently rewatched House of Lies, and it's all about management consulting. If you haven't seen the show, you don't need to watch it to get this point. But a lot of the time they were consulting with companies on how to grow, and acquisitions was a constant theme. This book is written by some consultants from McKinsey, which is a large consulting firm that talks pretty much exactly about acquisitions, growing via acquisition, geometric growth via acquisition. So I'd highly recommend checking out that book. It's a little bit dense. So this morning at the gym, I started the Audible version, which I'd highly recommend. So start with the Audible version and then it's more like a textbook than a regular light read, but I found listening to it was actually quite good. So yeah, and you should check this out too, Jeff.
I've got it written down right beside Acquihire and Acquisitive.
Excellent. Well, that's the tip of the day. Read the book, and if you have operations and you're not quite done growing yet, or you want to grow faster, and you have that core skill set, that core team, and you think you can go bigger, acquisitions could actually be a smart move. And like we just mentioned, a couple of these buyers today even look like they're doing that strategically. That was the health space and also the kitchen products. So they have some leverage already. They're looking to acquire brands to get there faster. You don't have to start everything from scratch.
I mentioned this anyway, on an Ask Me Anything that I did last Wednesday or last week sometime, and you know, all of the people in the group were basically asking me about selling their business, or like what's involved, what are the steps involved, use a broker, don't use a broker, all of these like things, because they're all kind of feeling like they have to sell. And as soon as I brought up the idea of growth by acquisition, all of them went. I could just see all of them making and all of them in their little Zoom screens. Everyone is like, "Ooh, never thought of that before." But yeah, because most people think that like, oh, if I have to acquire a company, I have to have millions behind me. Not the case. There's a whole bunch of different ways to swing it, where you don't have to come up with a whole bunch of money at once. Find a target, be creative. But I mean, that's like the idea of that, of getting that into people is like, don't sell, but the complete polar opposite of that. Everyone goes, "Ooh, never thought of that," and they all wrote that down. And it's like,
that's awesome.
It's pretty cool. But yeah,
I like it. Cool. Well, I think that's pretty much it for today. Maybe we should put you on full screen for this last bit, because that view is pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
How can people reach out to us, Jeff?
Yeah, exactly. Sales@thefbabroker.com for now. Best email to use, comes straight to our sort of collective inbox. I'll see it right away. And let me know if you're thinking about growing by acquisition, if that's in your head, if you're thinking about selling, if you're thinking about how do I get from A to B, how do I improve the value of my business, or yes, if you want to sell, absolutely, we can help you with that too. So sales@thefbabroker.com. Drop us a line. Let us know what your thoughts are, plans are. We'll get on a call and figure out how we can help.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, everyone. Jeff, thanks for making us all jealous of the open space you've got there.
Yeah, here we go. I'll leave you that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
amazing. That's All right. Excellent.
Not a green screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's actually real stuff back there.
Perfect. He's got to rub it in. I love it. Awesome. All right. Well, thanks everyone, and we'll see you on Friday with what? No, not with what. FAQ Friday.
Get your questions
FAQ
ready.
Friday. Yeah, absolutely. Join us and ask them live. Awesome. Thanks everyone. Cheers.
All right.